Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing 4 new pages in my Create This Book 1 and Create This Book 2. As a reminder, both of these books were created by a YouTuber here. Her name is Mariah Elizabeth and I highly recommend you check her out if you haven't. Both of these books are available for purchase on Amazon. I have the link for both books in my description. So starting first, I actually did something different. Normally I just fix the pages and add the extra layering as I go along in each page of the book. But this time I decided to actually just prepare all 4 pages that I was going to be working on today. And so I'm just gluing in some extra computer paper and watercolor paper on the pages. Since I already sort of had planned out my ideas for these pages, I knew what paper I should be using, and so I just cut them out and glued them in. I'm starting first in my Create This Book on the page that says create a page of polka dots. So my original idea for this page was to just add a few polka dots and maybe a drawing that had to do with the polka dots. But when I started using my watercolor, which is something that I don't use often, I kind of ended up going overboard and just filling the whole page with these polka dots. Normally for my Create This Book pages, I like to use lots of different materials, but this week I've mainly just stuck with watercolor. I was in a really watercolor mood while doing this video. And once I finish with the polka dots, I just use the fine liner to do some outlines on some of them. Not all of them, just on some of them to have some difference. And I did put my initials, sign, and date the page at the top. And this is how the first page turned out. It's pretty simple, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm going straight into the second page for my Create This Book, which is create a recorded conversation. So you were supposed to sit in a room with people and write everything you hear that they talked about, but I didn't really have access to a conversation like that, and especially with the whole pandemic, I couldn't really go anywhere. So instead I just started listening to a Congress meeting on my phone while doing this, and decided to first paint a background to go with the whole conversation that they were having. And I just wrote out what stuck out to me. And this is how this page turned out. This page is a lot more serious than most of my other pages, but overall I'm really happy with it. Moving on now to my Create This Book 2, the first page I'm going to be working on is Create Integration. So basically you're supposed to use this line and integrate it into your design. I had lots of issues to coming up with an idea, but since I have a lot of this calligraphy ink and this dropper that I got from a kit that I did recently, I thought it would be nice to just do a page with drips and see how it would look with this line. And I mainly just used the line as the basis of my drips. This somewhat felt like acrylic paint pouring in a way of how I was dropping everything and moving around the book like if it was a canvas. And so I kind of just kept going back and forth with each of the color inks that I had and trying to do different designs to each of them. And so once I had finished with all the inks, I just signed it like the other pages, and I moved on straight to the last page for this week. So this last page says create a puzzle. Now this page was very difficult for me since I've never drawn anything like this. I wasn't even too sure on how to draw a puzzle, but I kind of just made it up as I went, and there are definitely lots of mistakes in this puzzle. There are lots of pieces that don't actually connect to each other perfectly like a normal puzzle should. But luckily when I add all the color into the pieces, it does somewhat look more normal. And the process of actually drawing out the puzzle was kind of repetitive. It wasn't that fun, but when it came to actually adding the color, it was very relaxing and I enjoyed it a lot actually. And once again, I'm using watercolor to color in this page. I don't really use a lot of watercolor outside of my Create This Book pages, but it is a material that I really like to use. I like the effect that it gives things. I just don't have lots of practice with it. That's one of the main reasons I like doing these pages in Create This Book and Create This Book 2, is because it helps me practice using materials I don't regularly use. For the most part, I only have experience using acrylic paint and mainly fabric paint. I'm more of a painter than anything else. And this is how this final page came out. It's very colorful and I'm overall really happy with how it looks. The 4 pages that I did for this week in my Create This Book 1 and Create This Book 2 were all very simple and easy, and they were relatively quick, but I really did enjoy the whole process and I'm really happy how they all turned out. I can't really say which one my favorite is. I do know that I enjoyed doing all of them and it was a good experience. I hope you all enjoyed this video and I hope you all liked the things I created and I did in my Create This Book 1 and Create This Book 2. Thank you so much for watching and God bless you.